God they don't have thumbs. Like that was, she's smart. I'm starting to get scared of how smart she is.
Like that scene from Jurassic Park, huh? Clever girl.
I was like, Jesus, she's just sort of like, she's like fed up with being in this office because she's in it all day while I'm at work. And she's like, I've seen him open this to let me out. Like, how do I do this? Anyways, sorry, that kind of undercut everything. But
oh, good. Oh, good.
Let's put the focus back on you. What is one good thing to come out of this situation for you?
You kind of alluded to it. Is that the positivity? I hope people, and like not to kind of also kind of steal kind of Jamie's answer, but I hope people appreciate the small things that we took for granted prior to this, and that's like beers with your friends, or like the blessing that we have of playing soccer together every week. I think that's an amazing thing that we get to see each other every week, twice a week, you and I. That, you know, a hug from a friend kind of thing. Like I'm missing, you know, I'm a hugger, you know, I'm kind of missing being able to like hug other people. It just those a smile from a stranger who just served you at enter business that you normally attend, you know. So I hope people coming out of this really appreciate those small things, you know. The next time they're that booster juice and, you know, that person is really kind to them and says, you know, like, oh, here you go, and you're like, oh, thanks. Like I appreciate that, doing that with such positivity. You know, we appreciate those people that we interact with every single day and maybe don't think about it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That's a really great answer. And like, I hope that happens too. Just like all the positivity and the people, and like, we miss everybody, right? Like we miss playing with everyone. And my thoughts often turn to just our team members and just like being able to see them each week, and the huddles and the general camaraderie that comes after games, when everyone's just like, the game's over, let's just, you know, talk about whatever. On that note, like, since we're talking about club members now, I want to ask you a few little fun questions here.
Fire away.
Now, this is a very curious question for me because so many people have said this about you, but I want to know, who do you think is the most hilarious club member?
So I was giving this some thought beforehand. I was like, man, I got to pick someone who's not Jamie, Oren, and Michael. But I kind of have to agree with Erica and Kara about on our Monday nights, the banter that happens on the sidelines, no matter who's there. I think as soon as that we sub off, it's like the dynamic changes, but it's still funny, you know, like if Kat and Jamie are on the line, Jamie's kind of, you know, razzing her about, he's not going to swear, don't worry. And like everyone has all these banters and dynamics there on the sidelines, that there are times, and much to your chagrin, I forget I got a sub on. So when someone's coming off and yelling sub, we're all looking at each other and be like, shh, oh no, we didn't decide who's going on next. And we're all there like, you go next. No, you go next. No, you go next. So you get so caught up in the shenanigans on the sidelines on Monday nights that you almost forget you're there to play a game as well.
You know,
I got to throw it to everyone on the Monday team because I enjoy the banter that happens with everyone on the sidelines.
That's a good thing. And like, you know what, that's starting to just cement the fact that, you know, you guys are one of the goof troop of the whole club, because you have the context of knowing most of the club, pretty much all of the club. So, you know, it's okay to go with what you feel, man, even if it's the same answer. Which member would you want to escape from prison with?
I have to kind of agree with everybody else. It's you, man. Yeah, I think you kind of see all the pieces in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, all right, Connor, you go charm our rival gang over there. Maybe they can help us out. Nathan, you dig us a hole with this spoon over there, you know? Tarek, go steal the keys from that guard over there. Let's make this happen and break.
Tarek is he would be the nimble one. I'm going to have to change this question because people are starting to, there's a pattern of people starting to say me, and you know what, that's fair and I love it, but I'm also getting embarrassed because I'm always waiting for that like sting, that like backhanded compliment that comes afterwards.
Not all of us are Adele, right?
Well, also at this point, everybody may, or some people may have seen it already. Chris, just to allude a little bit, he kind of stung at me, gave me a little bit of a sting there. He had a pretty funny answer.
Oh, okay.
Actually, not for the prison question, actually, it's for this one. Which member would you go to war with?
There's a few to answer that question. There was a group of us that was kind of playing in that like 2012, 2013 era of our club. I'd take any one of them. So that's people like Jamie, Oren, Rattray, yourself, Kara, Jarvo, Alex Brown, my sister,
Gina?
female Alex,
Female
Nina.
Alex, yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
female Alex. Yeah.
God. Oh.
Just because at that time, as I alluded to before, I was kind of dealing with being really depressed. I was on academic probation at school, so I was like, in a way, inside, I was kind of at a war already, you know. And it was that night of that night of soccer that I looked forward to every single week and gave me a lot of calm in my own like internal battle. So I can answer that question from like a different kind of perspective, that you guys kind of went to war with me every single day and gave me a calm to my storm.
That's really really nice to hear, and I'm really glad that we were able to be that support for you. You know, at least consistently once a week, and on obviously on other nights when we did socialize. But that's really good to hear. And just for everybody to know, Nathan had a huge success story. He did eventually graduate, and he got his degree, which was, for me,
yes, yeah.
I've known you since 2010, and hearing that you graduated for me was one of the moments in which I was most proud of you, because I know how hard that was for you. And so,
yeah, I really struggled in that environment. I forgot Aaron. Aaron, by the way. Aaron also is one of in that group of people. Mm-hmm. So big shout out to all those people, if they're watching. If they're not, I love you all anyways.
Yeah, that's really nice. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm just gonna ask you this question, which is like, again, hell of a non sequitur kind of thing, but like, what is your favorite memory with the club?
So as we kind of alluded to at the beginning, I have a fun and unique perspective because I've been around for so long. I was there during OSSC. That story you told with Jamie with the L, we had like a dog leg in a field once because we had to put down the pylons and those other people wouldn't let us play where we were supposed to play. I was there when we were when Legion was the Fighting Pandas.
Yeah.
And then we were the Pregnant Seahorses. I don't quite remember what our next one was.
We did that 11-a-side team, and then we were just a bunch of random animal names, and then I finally settled on Legion. Yeah.
So I have a ton. I have just a ton of memories that make me smile. Obviously, day one of joining the club, Jamie comes over and pantses me. And he's, as you and Jamie had talked about, and he was the only person who I didn't know who was on that squad at the time because we were playing with all our work buddies. So I turned around and be like, who is this guy? With pants down around my ankles. Unfortunately, all my boxers and boxer briefs were in the laundry, so I was wearing like tight, like black tighty whities.
I forgot.
Of course. So I was like, who's this guy? Little did I know this guy would become one of my closest friends and someone who I look up to. Those seasons that we were playing out in Quebec, where you get beers brought to your like change rooms there. Those were some really good times.
Yeah.
Legion winning the Division 1 title, just because it's been such a long time coming, and I've been playing with those guys for years, and I have a belief that like they make me a better player because they're all so good. The talent on that team is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And like a testament to you assemble just good people that really like lift each other up, and I know no one will ever say it, but like I always know I have to step up my game to play at their level, and I appreciate that they are patient with me on some games because I can have some games where I'm off, but they make me a better player, and that's one of the things I love about playing on Sundays.
Wow.
And so for us to get that division title after we had been to the final so many times was just, oh, it was such a great moment and such a great feeling. And again, as you had alluded to before, you and I had been playing a ton, and this was a goal of yours. I know this was a goal of yours for a long time. So
Yeah.
for us to achieve that together, incredible, incredible. Also, speaking of that as well, when Honey Garlic won the tournament.
Yeah, that's in the
Um,
opening credits. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so there's that as well. Jamie had talked about the Kicking Cancer's Butt tournaments. The every time, that's kind of really fun to kind of have a day of games with people and get this day together. Our latest one being probably the one of biggest note, because we had 4 teams together. We have that big picture with everybody there, and again, from the unique perspective, as you kind of alluded to, I knew like everyone on every team, so it was just like, oh my god, it's you! Hey, oh yeah, like I remember playing with you 3 years ago on a random team for some reason.
Yeah.
So it was just super fun to be in those kind of environments. That, again, big props to you, because you bring all these people together, and I think the people in our little soccer community and club are just awesome. They're fun to be around. They lift you up. They got that positivity that I just love being around. Good auras. I know you don't believe in them, but they got good auras.
I'm believing in them. I'm believing in them for sure. I appreciate everything that you just said there. Like, that's exactly how I feel about things. And
we alluded to it beforehand, but that conversation that you and I had beforehand, when me almost not joining the team.
that's the very first memory I would have to say in regards to the club, right? Like, go ahead.
Do you want to tell that story?
No, you. This is your interview. You shared the story.
Okay. So me and Seb worked at the same grocery store over in Riverside South, and we'd known each other for a while. We'd gone out drinking a few times, so we were I'd say we were friends at that point in time. Definitely nowhere near as close as we are now. And you had just casually had mentioned that you had put together a soccer team with several people in the store, and I hadn't played soccer in like 5 or 6 years, since I was in high school, and I really missed playing. I remember I tried organizing a few pickup games with some friends, but the friends I was inviting weren't very athletic, or they weren't, it just wasn't working. So I was like, Seb, I used to play soccer. I would love to play if you have space for me. And then you, him, and Hod, and we're like, God, I don't know if I have room for you. I don't know, man. We'll see. And thankfully, you were like, I'll let you join. Okay, don't worry, I'll let you join. And I don't think you were expecting much from me, but I remember the first game you'd pull me aside and be like, you're pretty good.
I sound like such an asshole, but
No.
I want to put it into context for everyone. This was 10 years ago. So I was still a young kid. Like, I was learning. And to kind of give you, maybe, I think we've talked about this a little bit, but to kind of give a little more backstory, the problem with the OSSC team at the time was that there were so many people on it. There were already so many guys, and there was a guy who said he wasn't going to join. That was from the first team. And I was like, hey, Nathan, okay, there's probably going to be a spot. And then the guy decided to join. And I remember actually talking about it with Oren, and he and I kind of got to the conclusion that it was like, you know what, the right thing to do is to just be like, hey, Nathan, come play with us. And then we'll just manage the subs. And I'm really glad that we did. And for people to understand, when I say we had a lot of people, we had 13 players on for a 6v6. So it was 5 outfield plus the goalie. And we had 13 players. And that was the big reason why I was like, do I want to add another person? But I'm really glad that we did in the end, because obviously, you've been a big part of this club.
I don't know if I'd be as close with people with Oren. I definitely would never have met Jamie. I don't know if you and I would be as close. I definitely would have met anyone in this club, and I wouldn't be playing soccer. So I got a lot of thanks in my heart for you, you and Oren letting me join.
I feel like the word "letting you" is it's like we let you. That's one of my trigger words now. Letting, I would rather say that we welcomed you into the team after.
Okay.
After deciding that it was the most appropriate thing to do. But I do have to give, it wasn't just a me decision, it was Oren also helping me talk it out. And that's a big support that I've had from the 3 of you, Oren, Jamie, and you, just in life and in a lot of footy stuff, because there are some tough decisions that come that people I don't really talk about too much, except with a few that you kind of have to make in the background. Like it's just the way it is. Obviously, when you manage a lot of personalities, there's always going to be some conflict. And one of my biggest goals with this community is to keep things running smoothly and for people to like each other. And so sometimes I've had to have these like difficult conversations and difficult situations, and you've seen me having to deal with that. And that's been something that I can say has been consistent over the last 10 years, is that there's always difficult people and difficult situations. But kind of moving into
And I'll once again sing your praises about, you've done a great job with that. I think everyone would agree with it.
Yeah, and that's kind of why sometimes people are like, he's a bit of a jerk. It's because, sometimes you need to be a little bit of a jerk to kind of keep everything else moving. And that's why I appreciate people like you, Oren and Jamie, that are able to just be happy and be good and keep the positive things going. And Connor as well, like he's a very positive guy. Connor takes a lot of shit from me. That's why I gave him the Spirit Award. Like he's just like very strong-minded individual. One of my favorite memories with you, since we're talking about memories and stuff, before I move on to Pivo's 10 questions, is we were sitting you used to live very close to me, and we were sitting in your dining room, me, you, and Oren, and we needed a girl as we were transitioning to Footy Sevens full time, and we had just finished going 0-10, and we needed a girl.
Oh, I know where this is going.
We needed a girl, and you said, "Well, my sister's coming back." And that was 2012. We had known each other 3 years, and I had never heard you once talk about your sister. Not once. And you didn't even sing her praises. You didn't really say anything. You're just like, she's really good. She's coming back from the States. For those of you that don't know, Nathan's sister, Gina, used to play NCAA in USF, and she also had a cap for Team Canada. And he's just like, my sister's pretty good. She showed up, was really good, and we went 9-1 that season, and we only lost one game because we had to stop at 15 minutes. We were down by a goal. We stopped 15 minutes before the game was over because I popped my elbow. And I remember Gina was like, we didn't lose this game. She's so competitive. Anyways, that's my favorite memory, because it's like a movie moment. Like it's like a season 4 thing where like they're out of characters and all of a sudden they bring a new character on, and they're just like, yeah, I had never talked about it before, but this person exists in my life. I'm like, you have a sister?
The best part of that story is the team that we had lost to, like on our final.
Yeah.
The next week we had brought my sister and we beat them.
Yeah.
And we had lost like 0-10. We lost like 0-10 to them the week previous. We showed up with my sister, and then we crushed them like 4-1.
Yeah, that was amazing. There are so many.
And that's another thing I got to be thankful for. Like I got to play with my sister, which is pretty cool, because other than that, there'd be no way I'd be playing with her.
Yeah, Gina did play with us for a while too. Like so, and obviously, if she didn't know you, like she wouldn't have stuck around for as much. But she did. I'm kind of surprised that she played with us as many seasons as she did. But obviously, that's because she wanted to play with you just as much.
She likes you all. That's why.
I could keep talking with you for hours about all.
I know we've already gone for a long time.
I'm very conscious of the timing now, and I'm just gonna skip ahead to the favorite section of mine, Pivo's 10 questions, and this is where the title card comes up. So these are rapid fire questions. Answer with whatever comes to mind. I'm gonna start with, what is your favorite word?
Bullocks. It's such a ridiculous word. I think it's wonderful.
Beautiful. What is your least favorite word?
Probably. This almost seems like a lame answer, but like the N word, I just don't like. I don't like the historical connotations to it. I don't like how it's kind of used. It's just not a word I like.
There are no lame answers as long as you have a reason for it. What turns you on emotionally, spiritually, or sexually?
Positive vibes, man. We've talked about like auras and things like that. Like I'm really attracted to people who just want to see the good in the world and make the most of situations, or be goofy, or want to help people. I like these are the things that I'm really attracted to and really feed off of, and I feel make me a better person.
Amazing. Amazing answer, and I love that. What turns you off emotionally, spiritually, or sexually?
The exact I know this sounds just like Jamie's answer, but the exact opposite of that. The people who just are convinced to see the world in a negative way. Um, I think we all have our own challenges and obstacles to overcome. So that positivity can help us push through that. I don't see how the negativity really helps us kind of tackle those obstacles and things in front of us. It's okay to have negative thoughts. It's okay to be negative every once in a while, but don't wallow in it and think everything and ignore the beauty that is life just because a few things got you down.
Okay, good answer. I like it. What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of rain.
Ooh, I really like that too. We've had a lot of that recently.
I find it really calming. When I want to go to sleep, I put on rain. It just lulls me to sleep.
That's beautiful. What sound or noise do you hate?
I didn't know how to answer this one. I don't know if I have a sound that like I hear it and I just hate it, or one's not springing to mind anyway. So I'll pass. Is that is that a thing I can do?
You can most certainly do that. Like I said, there are no lame answers as long as you can defend it. And if you don't have a negative sound, that means that you see the beauty in everything. So we're just going to keep moving. What is your favorite curse word?
Shit. It's so versatile. You know.
You and Chris, amazing. What profession other than your own would you want to do?
I'd love to try doing something like on stage, like trying to be an actor or like a host of something that like I have a lot of personality and I could see myself doing something good, like hosting like a web show or like doing something like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Or trying to film a movie. I think that would be fun too.
Those are two very like different positions, because in one you're in the spotlight and in the other you're behind the spotlight. So that's very curious. You know what, man?
But both you have control of things artistically. Like one on stage, you're artistically in charge of like character. The other one, you're kind of in charge of like angles and like lighting and all different kinds of things.
That's very cool. And I think like I'm trying to think of a way that I can like help, and maybe you could host part of the annual party next year. So we'll see. That
Oh,
could.
you do such a good job. I can't imagine upstaging you there, Seb.
I think there's always room for improvement. What what profession would you never want to attempt?
So I worked in a call center for like 2 months, and it was inbound calls, and people still hated me with inbound. They were calling me, so I'd hate to be an outbound call center. I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. I never knew that about you. What was the can I ask what was the subject matter of the inbound calls? Like what was the
It
company?
was Sprint and Nexus. They had just merged a little while ago, so we were a call center, and we were like inbound calls, and then we'd send them off to other places. But I had to try and sell them something every single time.
Ugh.
So like I had to read from the script. I had to follow the script. If I ever deviated from the script, so I got like written up a ton of times in those 2 months that I was there, because I was just like, oh hey, you want to like end your contract? Cool, I'll send you over to this place. And they're like, why did you try to upsell them? Like, they're trying to like get rid of their contract with you. Like, what am I supposed to do? Sell them a charger for the phone they're not going to need?
Right. That's awful.
So like I legitimately try to help the customer, which would be break away from script.
Right.
You know,
Right. And
or
that's a
like people would call upset, talk them down, and then try to like direct them to a place that can help them, because I can only do so much, and people would be upset with that. So it just wasn't for me, and I can't imagine having to like call somebody to get them and then reading from a script.
very, very interesting and very shitty to hear that that's kind of how those places operate. Even though it's still kind of like sucks to get confirmed. We're gonna
Right,
move
yeah.
to, 'We're gonna move to. 'We're gonna move to our final question. If heaven exists, what would you want God to say to you when you reach the pearly gates?
Give me a thumbs up or a high five and said you did pretty good, man. I try to live my life every day of with the question like I want to be a good man. What would a good man do? Um, so I always want to try to uplift people. That's why I always try to be as energetic as I can be every time I go out there. Try to be as positive as I can be because I believe what you get back what you put out kind of thing. Um, and I hope people feel better for having known me and feel like a calm in my presence kind of thing. You know, so I aim to do that. There's days that I don't quite hit my mark where I want to be. There's days I could go, well, that wasn't how you be a good person. And other days I think I do pretty good with it. So I hope that at the end of the day, when all the days are tallied up, I'm kind of in the positive rather than the negative in terms of points.
You I can say that you have definitely been a positive presence in my life and a calming presence in my life that since I've known you for the last 10 years. And I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm pretty sure that this rings true for other members of our club. And I once again really appreciate all of your candor and your openness in this in this interview with me, in this conversation. So thank you, Nathan, for being a participant, a willing participant in this. And thank you to all of you at home for taking the time to get to know Nathan.
Thank you, everyone. I love you.
I will see you all on the next one. Adios.
So I turn around and be like, who is this guy? With pants down around my ankles. Unfortunately, all my boxers and boxer briefs were in the laundry, so I was wearing like tight, like black tighty whitey.